Hello everyone, welcome to this module on vocabulary. In this module, we will be seeing how to use online and offline dictionary effectively. We have seen in the last module about how important learning a new word is. So in this module, I am going to show you how to effectively use online and offline dictionary. For the purpose of teaching you, I am going to use a PDF version of Oxford Dictionary called Little Oxford English Dictionary. For online dictionary, I'll be using Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which will be available in the Google Play Store. The link of the online dictionary would be shared with you. It is very important to know how a dictionary conveys meaning to a user. After this module, you are going to be a very active user of a dictionary. So, watch the video carefully. You can watch the video more than once if you have a doubt. A user or a college student like you, in general, would definitely know that a dictionary has a collection of words and their meaning. But almost all dictionaries do not just focus on giving only meaning to its users. A dictionary in print would definitely have an instruction indexed to the front portion of the dictionary, which I'll be showing you in a short while. As a beginner, it is important to go through the instructions, especially if it is a dictionary that a user is using to learn a second language. How often do you use a dictionary for your mother tongue? No, we don't. It is because there is no need. The need does not arise because the rules, meaning and grammar of our mother tongue is given consciously or unconsciously to us through constant usage of the language. This is where it becomes necessary to use a dictionary. It is to know the rules in which to use a language. In our case, the rules to use English language. Even then, many of us who use a dictionary do not use many of the features which a dictionary provides to a user. The important features of a dictionary are printed in the first few pages of the dictionary. Most features are common between dictionaries, but there are certain unique features some dictionary give to the user. So depending upon the type and standard of the dictionary, it would have unique features. The most common dictionary type is a dictionary where words are listed alphabetically with meanings. There are also thesaurus, which gives you words similar to the words you are looking for, and etymology dictionary gives the language origin of a word that a user is looking for. You could observe how intense and adventurous does using a dictionary becomes by the way you approach each dictionary. These are for you to explore because we will not be dealing with how to use a thesaurus or an etymology dictionary in this module. In this module or in this course package, we will be looking at only the most commonly used dictionary type, the meaning for a word type. Now, let us get going on the topic for the day, how to use online and offline dictionaries effectively. First of all, we are going to start with offline dictionary or a printed dictionary. Like I have been mentioning before, I am going to use the images of the particular dictionary called Little English Oxford Dictionary. Now, this is one of the very few pages many of us would easily cross without noticing it much. But then, for a basic learner like you, for anybody like you, it is very important that we pay attention to pages like this as well. Now, this page, which is titled Guide to the Dictionary, is one of the most important pages in a dictionary apart from the pages where the dictionary gives you the meaning. This is important because it gives you how to approach the dictionary. The picture you're seeing right now may not be very clear to you, but then we're going to look at each part of this page titled Guide to the Dictionary in a very detailed manner. Come on, let us see what is the basic necessity that is needed by an user to approach the dictionary. This is the basic thing which any user needs in using a dictionary. That is called as part of speech. Now, a part of speech, we are not going to deal with part of speech in a detailed manner here because it will be handled by other teachers in other modules. But then you should at least know that these are the very basic types of a part of speech: noun, verb, adjective, adverb, article, preposition, participle, pronoun and conjunction. Now the first two, that is noun and verb, are the most important part of the part of English language, which you should be very much aware of, because nobody could form a sentence without a noun and a verb. And you can critically think about it even in your mother tongue, that it is impossible to make a sentence without a noun and a verb. This is another part of the same dictionary, or you could say another page of the same dictionary, where you see it as being titled pronunciations. This is again important for any basic learner. Now, this is only representative. I'm going to deal with it in small portions in the video that is to come. You could see that there are vowels and certain consonants listed here, so that you get the meaning, and not just the meaning, you are used to the pronunciation of English language, and that is being given to you using very basic words in the English language. So it kind of proves to us that how the first few pages of the dictionary are very important to us in accessing a dictionary. So this is the first thing we are going to use, or the first example we are going to use in looking at how we can use a dictionary effectively, in this case a printed dictionary. It is very clear to you in such a manner that the dictionary image which is given in the center here is the same layout which you would find in every other page. You could see that the word example given here is accuse. Now the word in the dictionary will be arranged alphabetically, but in Guide to the Dictionary, in the front few pages or the indexed pages of the dictionary, this is given as an example so that you understand how to use the rest of the dictionary. So you could see that the word accuse, the actual word which you are trying to find the meaning for, given in a darkened manner. You could see that the rest of the words or the rest of the sentences is light in color. right? It's light black, and then this is a little more dark black, or you could say it is typeset to bold, right? It has been bold. So if you're used to computer language or MS Word language, this word here, accuse, is in bold, and the rest of the sentence, right, after the number 1, number 2, it is given in normal font. So you could see that the word is called the head word according to the dictionary, right? So the head word is what the word we are looking for, or the user is looking for. Right after the head word, you have the part of speech, and that is why I told you that there are certain things which are basically necessary for you to understand how to use a dictionary. Now, using a part of speech, like I told you, is very much important in a language. Now, a dictionary does not just give you the meaning of a word you are looking for alone. You could very much see here that the part of speech which the word accuse belongs to is given to. In this case, the word accuse is a verb. So, this is the basic layout which the words in the dictionary is going to follow. That is the head word followed by part of speech. You could also see that within brackets there are few more words given, right? In this case, we have the word accuses, accusing, and accused. And the dictionary makes a mark saying that it is a verb inflection. Now there are verb inflection, there are adjective inflection. Do not let yourself confuse too much with what I am saying right now. But then for our own being, let us understand that, our own time being for that matter, let us understand that an inflection or a verb inflection in this case is nothing but the word inflection means to us that it is a word family, right? So word family is nothing but, let's take a word like sing, which we saw in the first module, right? So the word sing has many, sing is a base word and it has a word family, right? So in the first module, we saw the example of the word, the base word cold. So the base word cold extends itself into other word families like coldly, coldish, colder, and coldest. In our case, the verb accuse has so many word families called accuses, accusing, and accused. And this is the manner the word accuse can be used as a different word family, but the meaning will only minorly change from what is being given here. The next one is that you have a number, right? But then before that, sometimes for certain words within bracket, the dictionary gives you the word often, right? And then there is another bold typed head word given with another phrase, right? You say accuse of, right? So whenever the word often is used within brackets, it means that typically, right, or very frequently, the word accuse is used with the with the word of, right? So you are always using the word accuse as accuse of, right? So following, we have the word we have the numbers 1 and 2. This depends upon each word, right? So 1, 2 is nothing but the different senses in which, or the different meanings in which the same word could be used. It is numbered in such a manner that always the first meaning is the most popular meaning in which the word is used. So let us read the meaning here. Charge someone with an offense or a crime. Now, if you know the meaning of the word even before we saw it here, you would understand that we use the word accuse in such a manner that we always use it in such a manner that it is used in the meaning charge someone with an offense or a crime. So a dictionary not just alphabetically lists a word, it also lists meanings in such a manner that whichever that is a popular meaning of the particular word is given first. So the number second is you get the number 1 first and number 2 second, where we see that there is a second meaning to the word accuse. This is not the case with all the words. Some words could have just one meaning, some word could have 4 or 5 meanings, some word even more than that. So it would be listed using the numbers. Alright. So number 2, we see the meaning of accuse as claim that someone has done something wrong. So this is the second sense in which the word accuse can be used. Let us look at one more example. Here we are looking at the word desperate. Now the word desperate is the head word here. That is the word we are looking for in the dictionary. Now you could see that after the head word, what follows? Yes, you are right. You have the part of speech. Now desperate is an adjective. You need to know the difference between what a noun is, what a verb is, what an adverb is, what an adjective is. So you have the part of speech of desperate adjective. Now you know the drill, right? You know how it goes, how the dictionary lists. Sense number one or meaning number one is the one which is the meaning of the word we are looking for, or the head word, which is the most popularly used. So let us go ahead and look at the meaning of the word desperate. Feeling, showing, or involving despair. Second meaning, extremely serious. Now, after the second meaning, there is no meaning given to us, but then you could see that there is a difference in the way that the first and second meaning are given, and the sentence a desperate shortage, the font varies here. Now, why does the font vary here? Let's say that if you could use the computer language, it is italicized, right? Or if the font has been italicized. Now why does the dictionary italicize? So the guide to the dictionary is telling you that if at all a sentence is italicized, it is giving you the example of use. That is, the dictionary itself is using the word desperate in a sentence for the betterment of you, so that you could understand how the word can be used in a sentence. So you move on, you also see the third meaning, and this word has three different meanings. After which you could also see there is a square bulletin, and then you have the word desperately and then desperation. Now the dictionary, like we had been seeing in the last example, we had seen verb inflections. Here we also see derivatives. Derivatives are again part of word families. Now, in a verb inflection for the word accuse, we did see that accuse, accuses, accusing, and accused are verbs again, but then verb being used in different tenses. But it is not the same here, and that is why you call it a derivative. In either cases, they are called word families, because desperate is an adjective, but then when you add an ly and then call it desperately, it becomes an adverb. When you add ion to it, desperation, it becomes a noun. So that is how a dictionary works for you. It does not, like I told you, it does not just give you the meaning of the words alone, it does more than that. So learning 10 words in a day would give you an adventurous and a fun way of exploring and learning new words to you. The final thing about this example is that there is a box given here which says that you have to understand the way in which desperate is spelled, right? So in the written form you spell the word, right? So the dictionary is also guiding you to make you understand that desperate is the right spelling of the word, but not parate, because when we pronounce it desperate, right, we come to the understanding that desperate might be the right spelling, but then the dictionary or the guide to the dictionary is telling you that that is not the case. So you could see that how useful a dictionary it is. We will move on to look at more examples, simply for the reason that just giving one example may not be as efficient to you, but then the more we repeat the same thing, I'm very sure that you would get hold of the guide that is provided in front of the dictionary. If I could teach you this, I'm very sure that you can do the same when you are at home, trying to learn by yourself how to read or guide yourself using a printed dictionary. We will move on to the next example. So in your minds, you could repeat after me. You could go about the way we are using the dictionary in a guided manner, and then you could use the ways in which I have been giving the last two examples. So here is the head word which is given in the bold form, and what does it follow? It is followed by the part of speech. Now there is an extra information which we did not see in the last two examples. The dictionary within brackets uses again an italicized form, says that donkey has a plural form, and the spelling of the plural form of donkey is given to you, which is adding an S. So following that, you have the meaning of the word donkey. The meaning of the word donkey is a domesticated animal of the horse family with long ears and a braying call. Now there are one or two words in this sentence itself which you might need a dictionary. Please don't feel bad. You could go ahead, look at that in a dictionary which you have. Now there is one another variant you see here. You could see that after the meaning is given, there is a hollow square bulletin that is given here, and following which you have the word or the phrase called donkey jacket. Now there are phrases in by which we also use our English language. Those are not just words, we don't just use words in English language. We also use phrases. So a phrase is where you combine two different words. When you combine two different words, the meaning mostly changes. For example, we have here the phrase called donkey jacket. Now donkey separately has a meaning, jacket separately has a meaning, but then when you combine both of them, they become a separate phrase altogether, and then they have a different meaning. So shall we look at the meaning here? A donkey jacket means a heavy jacket with a patch of waterproof material across the shoulders. Now when we were doing this, we also missed one particular thing here. You could see that after donkey jacket, there is yet again an italicized word right here. I'm sure you could see it. It says BRIT or Brit with a dot. Now why is this given here? It is to say that donkey jacket is a British variant. I should stop here for a little moment and then tell you that English language, because it has been used very frequently across the globe, it has made itself into many variants. That is the English language. For example, the British people were the native speakers of English language, but then there are Americans who use English language, there are Australians who use English language, and there are Indians who use English language. In this case, donkey jacket is a variant which is used majorly by the British people. A dictionary today has become very open about this idea of variations. So there might be even examples in your dictionary where you could see the word AMER, meaning that particular word is an American variant. So these are all manners in which the dictionary could be used in a detailed manner. I'm sure that you are breaking your head over these many things that are being told to you, but then towards the end, I would give you certain details in trying to understand this in a very easy manner, and then going ahead to helping yourself in using the dictionary efficiently. We will also see another example, because not all examples are the same, right? So we have this word called nervy, N-E-R-V-Y. So nervy is the head word here, and then what follows the head word is the part of speech. Nervy is an adjective. So within brackets you have the adjective inflections. Now accuse is a verb, so you had verb inflections, right? So which become according to the tense form, they change, right? But here nervier and nervous is an adjective inflection which can be used as an adjective, but then it is part of the word family. Now you could see here that the example I gave you in the last one is back again here, Brit, right? So nervy is mostly a variant where it is being used. So British people are the ones who use the term nervy so often, and only there in the way the British people speak, only where you could see the word nervy being used so often. Now we could see yet another example, allowed. Allowed is the head word here, and what follows allowed is the part of speech, and allowed here is an adverb. So the meaning is not silently or audibly. You could see that the meaning is over, right? The meaning of the word allowed has been given here, but then in the bottom there is a dotted box, right? A dotted rectangular box that is being given for you. So there is a word I inside a black box here, which is, you could say, it is an abbreviation for information, right? So the dictionary is giving you an extra information which other dictionaries may not be giving, and that is why it is important to select the right kind of dictionary for anyone. So the information that the dictionary is giving to you is that, go ahead and read this. The dictionary is telling you that don't confuse allowed meaning out loud with allowed meaning permitted, right? When you pronounce this, you could of course understand that allowed and allowed are kind of similar in pronunciation. This is something we called as homonyms, right? Meaning the sounds are same. Homo means same, nym, right? So homonym, you have similar sounds. So the dictionary is giving you an explanation that maybe the pronunciation is similar, but then the meaning is not similar. So that is what the dictionary, the particular dictionary we are using now, is calling it as usage note. The more example we see, the better it becomes acquainted with you. You could also look at the meaning of the word acquaint, A-C-Q-U-A-I-N-T, in a dictionary. Acquaint, even if you look at the meaning, you could understand what is the sentence I am speaking to you right now, and the meaning of the sentence I am speaking to you right now. In other words, you could also think, the more frequently you use these things, right, they will become unconsciously, they will become part of you, so that the more you use, right, let's say after 3 or 4 months, you would become better at using the dictionary, and then you won't have to go about finding it, go back to the guide of the dictionary and then look what means what. So the more you use the dictionary, the better you will become with it. So the next example we're looking at is the word bail. Now this is very much different from other words we have looked in the example so far. Bail has an exponential number 2, right? So this is where the dictionary is giving you a guide saying that whenever a word is used with an exponent, or in our case the number 2, it says that there are 2 different meanings and the words are the same. So the word bail can be used in 2 different meanings, but then both are similarly pronounced, right? Bail, bail, right? So they are similarly pronounced. Let us look at how the meaning changes here. They have not given both the meanings, but then we will try and understand. Let us use our own brains, let us use our own smartness, and then try to find out what is the other meaning. So as you know, you have the head word, and then you have the part of speech, and then you have something in italicized. So there were times when, I did denote to you in the last example, the word Brit is used as an italicized form, which is used as an variant. In our case, it is a topic in which the word can be used, right? So a bail is a word which can be used under the topic cricket. So now you know what a bail is, right? A bail is, the meaning, either of the 2 small pieces of wood that rest on the stumps. So that is a bail for you. But then let us come back to the head word here, which has an exponent on it, the number 2. Bail is one way used in cricket. What is the other way in which the word bail can be used? Yes, right, you have guessed it. Bail is used in the context of judiciary, or in the form of jail, right? So when you relate to the term jail, you also think about the term bail, right? So you could understand that people get bail, right? Criminals get bail, right? People who have been accused, they get bail, right? So the spelling of both the words, right, which is used in judiciary term and also cricket term, both the words are the same. They use the same spelling. They also have same pronunciation, right? Bail, bail, right? But then the meaning completely changes. When you use it as a judiciary term, the meaning changes. When you use it as a cricket term, the meaning again changes. And that is what the dictionary is giving you a notification about. It says that the word bail has same spelling, same pronunciation, but it can be used in two different. This is the last word we will be seeing for the print dictionary, and then we will move on to online dictionary and how to use also an online dictionary effectively. You could see that the head word is given here and another word which is separated by the word R is given here. Now portion or given, right? Both of them are similar words, but then the second word uses an extra apostrophe over the word, over the letter O. Now you use the guide of the dictionary, it says that different spelling of head word, and in bracket it says both are allowed. Meaning the word Boshan can either be written with the spelling B-O-S-U-N or it can be written with the spelling B-O''S-U-N. The dictionary is telling you that the word can be used legally, right, in the world of English speaking world, right, with both the spellings. Whether you write it, when you pronounce it, it does not matter anyways, because you're going to use only the pronunciation, but then when you write, you could use both the spellings. Now this is what you see next to these both words within angular lines right over here, right? You see that this is something which you have not seen in any other example, but then it is a script which uses English, but then you may not understand what is given there. But then we will have a deep look at it. This is the way which the word should be pronounced. Now most dictionaries give you format in which a word should be pronounced. There are also pronunciation dictionaries which you could use for very technical words, but then most dictionaries, if at all the person or the editor who writes a dictionary thinks that it is a difficult word to understand, he or she, the editor or the editors, will give you the pronunciation. In our own context, we have to pronounce the word as Boshan, right? So that is the right pronunciation. We will get to how pronunciation works after this. So we are sure with the pronunciation of O here, right? So B-O-H is supposed to be pronounced as Ba, right? So top, Ba, that's the exact pronunciation. But then there is a hyphen given in the middle. So whenever a hyphen is given in the middle, it is a rule that you have to stop there, right? Though the word B-O-S-U-N is given as a single word, the pronunciation format tells you that there should be a space between B-O-H and S-U-H-N. So you stop at Ba, right? You don't say Bashun, right? Bashun or Bashan, right? So you do not know yet what the pronunciation is. So you stop exactly at Ba for a fraction of a second, right? So when you pronounce it, you may not even know the difference, but then the pronunciation dictionary format tells you that whenever there is a hyphen, you have a pause there. So we will move on to the next set of symbols, S, U, H, N. You have S and N, which are consonants, for which the pronunciation does not change. So we are going to do the same what we did for the symbol O, right? We are going to find the symbol U now. So we have symbol U right over here and UH also here. So what is the closest thing we are looking for? We are also looking not for U alone, we are looking for UH as well. So we have a perfect match here, perfect search match here. So we are able to find out. So, we go back to the word. and then we have an UH here also. So we could conclude that yes, you have to pronounce the word as UH, right, together, and we are yet to find how we are supposed to pronounce it. So we go back to the dictionary once again. So UH, if the symbol UH is given, UH as in the first part of ago, right? So UH should be pronounced in such a manner as in the first part of ago, right? Ago. You say, whenever you say ago, the first part of ago is right? So you're supposed to pronounce it in that manner, right? So you go back, now you are sure of how to pronounce the word. It is bason, right? Bason, right? Ago, bason, bason. That's how you pronounce the word. And this is how you could help yourself in trying to pronounce the word using the pronunciation dictionary. Now in continuation, it is also, the dictionary also tells you how you could use the consonants, right? So we have been looking at very easily about vowels alone. There are times in which certain symbols are used for even for consonants, and the guide to the dictionary or the pronouncing dictionary tells you also how to use the consonants as well. So it only comes by practice, like I have been telling you. It only comes by practice. Let's say that the first time you started riding a bicycle. Now the first time you rode a bicycle, there are so many things which should be running in your mind. People who might have taught you how to ride a bicycle would have told you, do not move your hip, look straight, right? Don't look at the pedal, right? Don't look at the road, right? Look at the distance of the road, right? Pedal slowly, right? There is constantly they keep giving you commands, right? But then 1 year later, 2 years later, when you continue riding a bicycle, you hardly try and remember the commands, right? Because your body has become accustomed to it. Your body has become okay with it, right? So you do not think about that. You should not be meddling with your hip, right? You should not be you should not be holding your handbars so in a grip manner, and so on and so forth. So riding a bicycle happens very unconsciously, without even you knowing. You could take a casual ride in a bicycle after you become an expert in it, right? It is the same manner in which you could also learn to ride your bicycle. It is in the same manner you could learn to use your dictionary as well. All right. So do not think too much about it. Just watch the videos again and again if you have doubts in it. We have seen how to use a printed dictionary or an offline dictionary. I'm going to show you how we could also make use of an online dictionary, because most of us have a smartphone with us, and you cannot carry a bulky dictionary wherever you go. In that manner, an online dictionary comes in very handy for you, right? So anywhere, anytime, any place, you could look at the meaning of words and learn new words. I have been using the dictionary which I am going to show you for a very long time, at least for 7 years, and I find it better than many other dictionaries that are available online. So this is, that you would recognize, this is the layout of the Google Play Store, which is in your smartphone. You could type Merriam-Webster dictionary, and then Google automatically suggests certain dictionaries for you. You could see that I have already, there is just one such example available, and since I have already installed it, it only tells me to open it. It does not ask me to install it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this application, Merriam-Webster application, and this is what I want all of you to install, at least for the rest of the course, because we'll be using the dictionary more often from now on. So you could open the dictionary, right, after you install it. But for today, I'm just going to show you how the layout works for you. Now it has a very interactive and aesthetic or beautiful layout for Merriam-Webster dictionary. You could see that in the home screen of Merriam-Webster dictionary, you have the search option, right around here, and then you also have the tab here which gives you lot many options. So you have dictionary, you have word of the day, and you also have word games that you could play. Now these are all for you to explore, but then Merriam-Webster dictionary is always going to be free, at least we hope so. So you need not pay any money, right? Even though it says in the bottom 140 rupees per year, it is only for people who wish to remove the ads which are shown in the bottom. Now that is not a biggest problem for at least users like us, right? Let them show the ads. We are only going to use it once in a while, right? So we are going to use it frequently whenever it is necessary, and then even then the advertisements are not going to be a problem for us. So you need not pay any money for it. It is an open source dictionary that is available for us. So you could look at the dictionary here, right? You could look at the word of the day, right? So for each day they'll teach you new words, right? So you could also play some word games, and you could select the category, the level of difficulty as well. So our concern here is the dictionary we are going to use. If you go to the dictionary, there's a search tab on the top. Now you could see that as soon as I go to the search tab, in the top corner below the search box, you could see two things. Dictionary on the left, which is underlined because that is the one which is being selected now, and then we have thesaurus. Now I'm going ahead, and then I'm going to touch it, and then the dictionary will suddenly become a thesaurus, right? So you could see that the ribbon, the background ribbon has changed into a dark brown color, right? So dictionary is gray, dark gray, bluish gray, and thesaurus is dark brown. So that is the best part of using Merriam-Webster dictionary. You have at least two types of dictionaries in this, right? So you have a thesaurus along with it, you have dictionary along with it. But then that is not all. So right now I'm telling you that it has dictionary and it has thesaurus, but then Merriam-Webster dictionary, like I have tested before, it is the best dictionary, online dictionary you could find in the market. Maybe this sounds like a marketing thing, but still, as a new user, I think you would be able to use Merriam-Webster dictionary in your full capacity. So let us start using the dictionary. Let me type a word, right? I have been, okay, so I'm typing this word, expedient. So as soon as you start typing, the dictionary starts suggesting, like Google, starts suggesting what word you might be looking for. So I'm looking for the word expedient. So you know the basic format of any dictionary. You could see that we have seen in the print dictionary, you see the word, right? And then below it, you see the part of speech, which is adjective, right? And then below it, you could see how the word has to be pronounced in a particular manner. You find dot after ex, you find a dot. After pe, you find a dot. After DA you find a dot, after ENT you find a dot, right? So that is the way the word has to be pronounced. But then as an added thing, you are also given the pronunciation, right? So you do know that, from the print version example I have given you, you still know how to pronounce this word, right? So you could use the same guide, right? You could use the same guide because all dictionaries work in the same manner. All dictionaries work in the same manner, but there is an extended feature which the online dictionary has. For using this, you will have to stay connected to the internet. For example, you click on the speaker symbol that is given very close to it, right? I am not sure whether you are able to hear it, but as soon as I touch it, the speaker symbol becomes gray, right? So it uses the internet. If you have a microphone with you, you could connect it. Every time you click on it, the dictionary is going to pronounce the word for you. Is it not so great? Right? So in the print form of dictionary, you have to use your own smartness in finding out how the difficult word is pronounced. But at least in online dictionaries, you can just press on the speaker symbol that is given right about the pronunciation symbols. You could find out how the word is pronounced. Now, only for pronouncing the word you need internet connection, right? After you download it, after you update the app in regular intervals, you don't need internet connection. You could switch off the internet and continue using the dictionary. But then only if you want the dictionary to pronounce the word for you, and then you would be needing the internet connection. So it goes on like this. Now, like I told you, so this dictionary could be used as a dictionary. It could be used as a pronouncing dictionary. It could be used as a thesaurus. It could also be used as an etymology dictionary, like you see here in the bottom, right? So now you could see that this is far better than an offline dictionary or a print dictionary, right? So look at the advantages you have here. Look at the advantages you have here. You could use the dictionary as a pronouncing dictionary. You could use this as a dictionary. You could use this as a thesaurus. You could use this as an etymology dictionary, right? It gives you sentences, right? It gives you sentences in which the word you are looking for can be used. It gives you synonyms. It gives you antonyms, right? So it gives you examples, and all of this in your handheld device called the smartphone. And that is why I request all of you to go for an online dictionary, which is much or far better than using an offline dictionary or a printed dictionary. The last demonstration I would like to show you is about a thesaurus. Now thesaurus works in such a manner that if when you are looking for a word, a thesaurus will give you similar words, right? So we will go ahead and click on thesaurus. So for the word expedient, what are the related words you could actually look for? So the word expedient has related words like this, right? So it has these many related words, right? And that is how a thesaurus works. So if you want to do it for another word, you could go ahead and do this. So I'm going to type this word called surmise, and then I'm going to thesaurus, right? So when I go to thesaurus, it's going to give me all related words like this. So there's just one problem in using a thesaurus. You cannot, I should warn you, just because a word looks good enough, or looks beautiful, or it looks very technical, don't go ahead and use the word that are given in a thesaurus. Instead, find the meaning of the word, right? So how can you, after you go to thesaurus, let's say there's this first word called, hypothesis. So I look for the word surmise, right? This is the word I look for, surmise. This is the word I look for, and then I clicked on thesaurus. It brought me to the related words called, hypothesis. So I have to find out whether the word I'm looking for is hypothesis, right? Maybe I don't want to use the word surmise. I want to use some other word. So I'm looking for the thesaurus, and I'm looking for an exactly same word, but then I want a different word, right? So I click on hypothesis. Now I go and look at the meaning of hypothesis. Now I read the meaning of the word hypothesis. If it is the meaning which I want to use, so I could make use of the word. Otherwise, go ahead and keep searching new words. And this is how you could effectively use an offline dictionary.